Welcome to the radio. Welcome back to Free Fire Radio on KCNR 96.5 FM at 1460 AM. We're rocking on our 1460 dial again. This portion of the show is brought to you by Clyde's Enterprises, the original and still the best, 1250 Hartnell Avenue. I am so happy to have Chauncey Haworth with me this morning. Chauncey has this great show on KCNR on Monday nights called Radio Wasteland. You and Sean and Kura.
Yes. Yep.
And tell everybody what this is about.
It's a paranormal talk radio is what we call it. It's kind of hard to come up with a slogan, so we came up with the best in paranormal talk radio just because it lays it out. But it's basically just interviews with anything having to do with anything weird and mysterious and conspiratory and anything down those lines. We've even had a little bit of true crime, but even in the case of the true crime, the guest that we had on was talking about a missing boy, that a big part of the Bigfoot community thinks Bigfoot might have taken him, but really our guest was refuting that. But it seems like every guest we have on is something out there.
Now, I did this several years ago for a few months. It was called Outside the Wire. Mm-hmm. And I did kind of the same thing because I'm interested in this too. I mean, I had the Myrians on. I had people that were half alien, half humans.
Hybrids.
Hybrids, that's right. And there's different types of hybrids. I mean, I learned about all this stuff. Yeah. And you know what? It was and this was like I said years ago, people still go to that site because we archived the show, and they still go to it. Yeah. And I mean, I still get hits on it, and it's been like 5 years? Yeah. Something like that, maybe longer.
It's a freaky hot topic, and people are definitely interested. I come from a different angle. A lot of our guests on had an experience. I always like to ask them, how'd you get here? Exactly. Yeah. What led to this odd situation. Most of them have had some kind of experience, but for me, doing the show, I really grew up as a horror fan, a science fiction fan, and it really just sort of led to the curiosity of, is there something else out there of all this stuff that I'm totally interested in? And so I don't like the word skeptical because maybe that word applies, but I think it carries connotations. I'm just interested. And I'm interested. It makes my imagination run wild. It's just fun.
Well, the one thing that I realized is that when I did this, you might be skeptical, but I talked to my guest as if everything they were saying was gospel. And then I would ask them questions, not deep, because, once some of them, if you got past the fourth layer, I mean, that becomes tougher. But just listening to them, and if you maybe suspend the belief a little bit during that time you're interviewing, but you have great interviews with people that truly believe in this, or if not, they're really putting on a good facade. But they are so sincere.
So a lot of my guests, I absolutely go into everything totally respectfully and totally interested and want to know. There are a few topics that I have decided that I can't have on again unless the guest knows that I just can't go there personally.
Like what?
Two of them are fairly mainstream, and maybe three. I can't really do faked moon landing. Okay. I find it hard to go there. You know, as a kid, I was all about space travel. This is an integral part of who I am.
Right.
I can't do flat Earth. Once again,
you had a flat Earth guy.
I did. Her name was Lori Frary. She was very nice. It was a good situation, but I had a hard time doing the interview because I couldn't ask the questions that were going through my head. So because of how I've chosen to do the show. So we made a change to the show that if we ever have somebody on there again that falls into these categories, we're going to make it clear to them that I totally don't agree. I will totally be respectful. I'm not ever going to.
No, you're not like that.
But right. I need to go into it. And then the last one is belief that the Earth is 7,000 years old and the dinosaurs were put here to test our faith. I can't do it.
Okay, the flat Earth.
Yeah.
What is that? I mean, do they? Well, there's others out there. There's a basketball player. The guy makes $28 million a year. Obviously, supposedly has a college degree, and he believes in flat Earth. But when he said it, there's so many people rolled in, he kind of backed off. But what is their hypothesis on this, that the Earth is flat?
Well, a lot of them are coming from the attitude of they can't see it, so they don't believe it, which is kind of a big part of the problem in this world, I think. And that is that, as close back in history as Benjamin Franklin, one intelligent person could have a grasp of all the world's sciences, but now that's not even an option. I mean, my day job is computers, and there are people who spend every hour of every day just studying email, and that's what they do, and they're the email master, and there's no hope that I could even comprehend the depths of what they're doing. So when we bring in, physics and nuclear and
medicine,
all this stuff, you're just not capable.
Hypersonic stuff. Yeah.
I understand that there's a lot of back and forth with government and science and stuff, but we do have to put our faith in there somewhere. Your cell phone works. My daughter showed me this really funny meme where this guy goes back in time and he's bragging to all these old biblical people about electricity, and they're just, well, show it to us. And he goes, I don't know how it works. Because we don't know how it works. I mean, we're talking in these fancy microphones. You're in this microphone every day. Do you know how it works?
Well, you know what? I'm still trying to figure out that if you clear up, why the transmitter stopped. And now that it was so simple. I had ran all electrical and all this kind of stuff, but it was pretty simple. And I mean, I don't know if it's finished yet because we're still going down there today.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, I have a basic understanding how it works.
Yes.
But if somebody told me I want you to rebuild this thing,
right?
Unless I had the YouTube there,
right? Exactly.
YouTube there to follow.
Right. Unless I had this other thing that I don't know how it works to show me this one.
Yeah.
So flat Earth, that's one of their beliefs, and then they sort of dug deeper from there and sort of tried to find things that support why the Earth is flat. The thing that's weird for me is that the Earth is flat, yet our other planets are spherical. And
do they believe in that the other planets are spherical?
Yeah.
It's just us.
Right, yeah. And
do we kind of like bend it all? Is there any bendy in it, or is it just flat?
No, it's like flat. And so if you were to take a map of the world and let's say split it at Antarctica, right, and bring that up, we would then have the disk of the world. And imagine Antarctica as being the ring around the outside, the impenetrable ring.
Okay.
That when you go out there, and due to the curvature, when you go out there as it spins, you would just kind of walk around and it'd seem round to you. But it's not.
Okay. You know what? Do you think sometimes people, and we got to take a break, they get into this because it's kind of fun?
That's why I'm here.
Well, no, I know why you're doing it, but when you get the flat earthers that come in and she's looking at, or you're talking to her on the phone, maybe she's in here, you're looking them in the eye, and they're just talking to you about it, and it's like, oh yeah, that's the way it is.
Right.
I mean,
I think it's, everybody knew those kids, or maybe you are that kid that walked around all tough and all cool.
Yeah.
And you were faking it. And you were trying to be cool, trying to be tough, and eventually you became that. You forgot you were joking. You forgot you were interested.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people who are kind of lost in things are just sort of, and I'm by no means saying this for all my guests, but for some people who are lost, they're looking for an answer. And and a lot of people have that, and they find it in different ways, and who am I to question what makes people happy?
That's a great place to take a break, and that was a great answer, too, Chauncey. We're here with Chauncey Hallworth, who has a show here on Monday nights called Radio Wasteland. If you have not listened to it, do yourself a favor and tune in, and then go back and look at the archives. He has, and we're going to talk about this one that I was listening to that I stayed in the truck for like 5 minutes in the heat listening to it, and I never found out when it happened. I kept thinking, well, this has got to be back in the 1800s. And then just found out the other day, oh, no. It was a lot later than that. This portion of the show, speaking of hot, is brought to you by Alliance Heating and Air, better known business here, best in the North State. It must be they've been voted that, I don't know how many times. Serving the North State for over 25 years. Any type of cooling system, they can work on it. Martin and Pam and the group of professionals they have there. They can offer guarantees, warranties. They do it all at Alliance Heating and Air. Learn more at their website, homecomfort.org, or give them a call at 221-2642, Alliance Heating and Air. Oh, looking for instant hot water, one of those type of heaters? He put a on-demand water heater in my house, and it has worked wonderfully. We so much appreciate that. Alliance Heating and Air. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Free Fire Radio here in the studios at KCNR, 96.5 FM and 1460 AM, your talk radio. Good morning, everybody. 7:51 in the morning, about 84 degrees out there, going up to 106 today. It's going to be hot. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Weather Report's always brought to you by Shasta Gas Propane. This portion of the show brought to you by Bastiani Arms. Looking for a gun. Looking for ammo. 1 July, the ammo law changes. And ammo, as you know it, will change, because now you have to go through the government to buy a box of 22 caliber ammo, and you've got to be registered and all these other things. So it's a good time now to go out there, maybe start stocking up. You've only got like a few more days left. And Bastiani Arms has ammo. It has every type of gun you could possibly want, all the accessories, classes on the care and handling of firearms, the concealed carry. And their customer service is just outstanding. I don't go anywhere else to buy a gun than from John and Sarah Bastiani. 2539 Larkspur, right here in Reading. Okay, I'm with Chauncey Haworth, who is the host of a great show we have on Monday nights at 6 p.m. called Radio Wasteland. And it's a show about the eerie. It's a show about the paranormal. And I asked him during the break, what was the show? I don't know if the right term is weirded you out, or what is the show that you really, during the show, you're going, wow. I know you probably had a few.
There are a few. My very first guest I ever had on, he died. Not as a result of the show, no. His name was Ron Amitron. And we got the wildest the first. Was the very first. And Ron was a totally interesting, loving, nice guy, but he was all about, belief that us and aliens were time traveling by hopping from body to body, and that he could clear people by counting and then snapping his fingers. And so, he cleared the audience, and he cleared everybody. It's like he was some kind of alien second coming.
When you say he cleared them, you mean if there's an alien in us.
Yeah,
and he could clear the alien from your body.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe the aliens got him?
One way or the other, I'm sure.
Well, And so that was kind of like, wow.
Well, it definitely, there's a lot of different ways this question could go, but that was the first, wild, whoa, right. This is what we're in store for. I also have a reoccurring guest, Samuel Hoffman. He has a massive online community. He's all about Nibiru. And
which is?
Nibiru is this supposed either second planet or, ninth planet at this point, or binary star system to our star, a sister star that's in orbit with us. And it comes from ancient Sumerian texts that a guy named Zechariah Sitchin translated and believed that the ancient Sumerian religion was actual reality and that they return every 3,600 years. Samuel Hoffman has changed this into that Nibiru is a binary star system that's here with us, and when you see certain cloud formations, it's actually the other planets that he refers to as sky fillers. Uh-huh. So when we see certain colors of skies, we're not actually seeing the skies, we're seeing a planet that is so close that it's encompassing our view.
Wow.
And so that one, of
pretty
course,
convincing.
He has a massive loyal online following. I found him because we, our initial shows were just us sitting around discussing, and I had gone into some Facebook groups and said, "Hey, we're going to be discussing Nibiru. Check it out." And all these people came and listened, and then the hate mail started coming in about how we didn't know what we were talking about and all this stuff, and that we needed to talk to Samuel Hoffman. And so I said, all right, we go after Samuel, and we get him on the show, and he had an entirely different take than most of the Nibiru people. Most of the Nibiru people are following this Zecharia Sitchin belief that it's a Planet X situation.
Okay, yeah, got it. Okay, now the one that really that kept me in my truck in the hot weather without the engine running was this one you're going to talk about now. It happened. I thought it happened back like when I was listening to it. Oh, it's got to be in the 1800s. It's got to be like in some mountain pass here in California. Yeah. Like the Donner Party. But I was totally wrong.
Yeah, it's 1959. Decade into the Cold War, decade or two into the Cold War, and it's the Dyatlov. I'd be a terrible Russian sleeper agent. So Dyatlov Pass Incident. And it's a really famous incident because there's a lot of potential reasons why this happened to these people. But basically, at the time, Russia had this heavy communist attitude, and they were training their people to get out there and do their thing, and trying to have the best of the best, not unlike the Germans were doing, 20 years prior. And so these kids from this college end up going on this extreme mountain cross-country skiing, hiking situation, and they end up finding them dead.
Every one of them.
Every one of them, in pretty much a straight line, going off in one direction, for up to a mile or two, or something like that. I'm kind of pulling some of these memories from thought.
Well, they were in a camp. They had a camp, or they just found them in line, just dead?
They had a camp, but all had left the tent.
Like they were trying to escape.
That's what it seems like.
It seems like they were trying to, and they were all found in a line, somewhat of a straight line, all dead.
Right. And some were missing their eyes as though they had been burned out, and some were missing their tongue as though it had been cut out. And but maybe in a more ripped out kind of way, none of it seems to really sort of line up with a backwoods serial killer, So there's a lot of different things that people are saying might possibly have happened.
Well, they said some of them could be like, animals had gotten to them, but then when, during the autopsy, they found that some of them had been taken while they were alive.
Right, yeah.
And some after they were dead.
Now, I'm not sure how long it takes one to die of exposure. I mean,
don't know.
Is it possible to seem dead when a bear is eating your tongue? I don't know.
But in a straight line.
Yeah.
Like something had captured each one of them or killed each one of them.
Right,
they died
as they were running.
As they were running.
Yeah. Yeah, and
this is
it is,
and that's what kept me going. I'm going, well, this is strange, And then they said, well, and you asked, well, was it done while they were alive? Well, no, some were dead, but in some cases, yes, they were alive when the parts were taken out.
Yeah, and there's a lot of interesting possibilities as to why it happened.
Anyway,
kind of audio weaponry and Bigfoot.
If you want to hear more about this one and all the other ones that Chauncey Hallworth has, you go to his website,
radiowasteland.us,
and there you go. You can listen to every show, and you can listen to him every Monday night right here at KCNR 96.5 FM and 1460 AM. What's it going to be this week?
This week coming up, Kara and I are talking about the top 10 best vampire horror films while we go over the vampire mythology and the vampire guests we've had on.
That's right. You've had vampire guests on.
This is quite a few.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to take a break for news, and then Aaron Resner, Reading City Council person, will be joining us talking about taxes and the way forward for Reading. We'll be right back.